Good morning, I'm LiZeatra Wilson. The time is now 8 o'clock. One man shot during broad daylight. His shooter is still on the loose. It's the third shooting we've seen in Tallahassee in a week. Tallahassee police say the man was shot on Virginia Street around 3 yesterday afternoon. He was taken to the hospital, but we don't know how he's doing.
Okay, this afternoon, TPD responded to the 400 block of Virginia Street for a shooting. We found one victim. He was transported to a local hospital for treatment for his injuries. We do not have anyone in custody at this time, and any updates that we have will be made available as soon as we have them for you.
This time, we haven't received any new information, but we will keep you updated on this story. A man wanted for attempted first-degree murder in Central Florida was arrested in Tallahassee. U.S. Marshals arrested 33-year-old Ronell Gillens at Stratford Landing's apartment on Mission Road around 8:20 yesterday morning. Broward County detectives say Gillens is accused of choking his pregnant fiancée and slamming her head against a car. They say Gillens also turned a gun on the victim and her brother. Early yesterday, police found out that Gillens had a nephew in Tallahassee and set up surveillance at the complex. He is now in the Leon County Jail. Drivers on I-75 should be extra cautious this weekend. A smoke advisory is in effect in parts of South Georgia and North Florida. Eyewitness News reporter Greg Goldberg shares the details.
Countless vehicles barrel up and down I-75 every day, but this weekend drivers need to be on the lookout for thick smoke. The Lowndes County Emergency Management Agency issued a smoke advisory for the interstate. A large wildfire continues to burn in Baker and Columbia counties in Florida. It was started by a bolt of lightning Thursday. Thick smoke can cause poor visibility on the highway. It can also wreak havoc on your lungs. Drivers going through the smoke need to keep their windows up.
Well, it's kind of nauseating. To drive through it for a long time, at least 10, 20 miles, it kind of gets to you. It comes right through the vents of the truck.
We saw a destructive example in February of how bad it can get when a sudden mixture of smoke and fog covered the interstate, causing a pair of pileups that killed 10 people.
It's very important if smoke does impact Lowndes County that drivers slow down, use their low beam headlights, and keep plenty of distance between themselves and other cars.
Now looking around, even if you don't see any smoke, you should still try to be cautious because winds can blow in a dense smog at any time. In Lowndes County on I-75, I'm Greg Goldberg reporting for WCTV Eyewitness News.
We remind you not to call 911 if you see smoke. That number should only be used for emergencies. Firefighters say they're close to a new deal with the city of Tallahassee. The proposal is a 3-year deal. It gives the firefighters a 9% increase in salary and benefits over that time. The firefighters would also agree to reduce the city's contribution to the pension fund for new firefighters by 3.2% beginning October 1st. Tallahassee commissioners must approve the deal to make it final. Firefighters have been working on an extension of their previous contract. It expired last October. Small bombs exploded yesterday evening in Colombia. President Obama and other leaders gathered for the 6th Summit of the Americas in Bogota, near the U.S. Embassy. 2 small bombs exploded in a suburb of Cartagena near a bus terminal 3 hours after Obama arrived in the historic Caribbean city to attend the summit. The Florida judge overseeing the second-degree murder case involving George Zimmerman says she may have a conflict of interest. During a hearing in Sanford, Florida yesterday, Circuit Judge Jessica Rickslider said her husband works with an attorney who referred Zimmerman to his current defense attorney, Mark O'Mara. The lawyer who made that referral, Mark Najame, is a well-known Orlando defense attorney. He is serving as a CNN commentator on the case. The judge asked O'Mara and prosecutors to file motions with their views on the possible conflict. Prosecutors say Zimmerman fatally shot Trayvon Martin in the chest during a confrontation on February 26. And we're learning that attorneys on both sides of the case have local ties. They're both FSU Law School graduates. George Zimmerman is now being represented by Mark O'Mara. He's a 1982 FSU Law graduate. Ben Crump, who graduated from FSU's Law School in 1995, is representing Trayvon Martin's family. Zimmerman says he shot Martin in self-defense and has pled not guilty, despite what some people think they heard. Prosecutors say George Zimmerman did not utter a racial slur in his 911 on the night he shot Trayvon Martin. The lack of an arrest for more than 40 days led to the protests nationwide. Valdosta police have made an arrest in the murder of Timothy McKinney. 19-year-old Terrell Reiser was arrested at about 4 yesterday morning in Valdosta. He's currently in the Lowndes County Jail. He's been denied bond. McKinney was found shot to death on the railroad tracks on April 11th. Investigators in Rochester, New York are charging a mother with deaths of 4 of her children. Rochester Police and Fire Department say she is charged with 4 counts of manslaughter and arson. Investigators say she intentionally set a fire at the home. 4 of her kids died in that fire. 2 children were rescued. 3 other friends jumped from a 2nd-story window. Florida's teachers and students will be a little more stressed than usual this weekend. The newer, tougher FCAT begins Monday. Brian Anderson has the details.
It's a one-time shot.
Teachers and school officials throughout Florida are on edge as the day of the FCAT looms closer.
So you really want to make sure you're prepared.
Mary Ellen Prophet is among most 3rd grade teachers probably feeling the most pressure.
All right, can you read your support?
Because if her students don't score high enough, they don't move on.
It is tough for them to go through a lot of emotional and social things that they go through at their home and then have to come here and perform at 110% all the time in a one-time snapshot. That's not fair.
Teachers arguably have more at risk. The test scores now count for half of their evaluations.
I'd like for some of the people who are making those decisions come sit in this classroom and see what our babies go through.
More Jackson County schools scored A's last year than ever before, but because of this year's changes, the outlook in Jackson County and across Florida is not as optimistic.
Statewide, we're looking for school grades to decline.
Teachers like Prophet say if test results are lower, neither the students nor the teacher are to blame.
That says a lot about how they're changing the scale, and it's not fair to change the rules in the middle of the game.
Brian Anderson, WCTV Eyewitness News, Mariana.
The FCAT starts Monday and makeup testing lasts through the 26th. A sheriff's office released the 911 tape of calls from a woman who witnessed some people trying to help a bobcat on a highway. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office says one of the women who tried to help the bobcat was eventually bitten. The bobcat is now in the custody of local animal services. It appears it was originally hit by a car, but its injuries were not serious. However, since it bit the woman, the cat will be euthanized so it can be tested for rabies. We're just getting started this morning. Up next, Nate gives a complete look at the forecast, but first, here's Jason Kahn with a preview of what's ahead in sports.
The Florida State spring game is hours away. Who are some players to watch on offense and defense? I'll tell you in your Good Morning Sports.